Here is a number worth sitting with. The age at which the higher-earning spouse files for Social Security can still be paying the household or costing it decades after that spouse is gone. It is one of the very few financial decisions in retirement that truly outlives the person who made it. The survivor does not get a second vote. They live with whatever age was chosen for the rest of their life. Start with the mechanism because it surprises people. When one spouse dies, the survivor does not keep both checks. Social Security pays the larger of the two benefits, not the sum. If the survivor's own benefit is smaller than what the deceased was receiving, the survivor's payment steps up to match the higher figure, and the smaller one disappears. That is the entire mechanism of a survivor benefit. One household income drops to one larger check. How large that check is depends heavily on when the higher earner filed. Under current Social Security Administration rules, a surviving spouse can claim as early as age 60 or 50 if disabled. Claim right at 60, and the payment starts at 71.5% of what the deceased worker was receiving. Wait longer, and the percentage climbs steadily. The Social Security Administration's own figures show it passing 75% by age 61. By age 63, it's over 80%, and by age 65, over 90%. Wait until your own full retirement age for survivor benefits, and the payment reaches its full 100%. That survivor full retirement age falls between 66 and 67 depending on your birth year, and it is not always the same age as the full retirement age for your own retirement benefit. Now here is why the higher earner's choice matters years later. If that spouse delayed filing past their own full retirement age, their benefit grew by roughly 8% for every year they waited, up to age 70. Those delayed retirement credits are permanent and they carry directly into the survivor benefit. A surviving spouse who waits until their own survivor full retirement age can receive 100% of that larger credit-boosted amount. If the higher earner instead filed early, say at 62, their own benefit was permanently reduced. But Social Security builds in a floor for the survivor called the widow's or widower's limit. It caps how low the base can go. The survivor's benefit cannot fall below 82.5% of the deceased worker's full benefit amount, even if the deceased was receiving less than that when they died. So early filing by the higher earner lowers the ceiling on what the survivor can eventually collect, but it does not remove the floor beneath it. Picture one household to see how this plays out. Say the higher earner is the husband and his benefit at his own full retirement age of 67 would be $2,000 a month. If he waits until 70, he earns delayed retirement credits for 3 full years at 8% each. That is a 24% increase, bringing his own benefit to about $2,480. If he dies and his widow later claims survivor benefits at her own survivor full retirement age, she can receive 100% of that, $2,480 a month, for life. Now run the other path. If he claims at 62 instead, his own benefit is reduced by 30%, down to $1,400. Without the widow's limit, his widow might expect $1,400 too. But the floor of 82.5% of his full benefit works out to $1,650, so that becomes her minimum. The two claiming choices leave her with either $2,480 a month or $1,650. That is a gap of $830 every month for as long as she lives. There is a sequencing choice too, and it surprises people. The rule that forces you to file for two benefits at once, called deemed filing, does not apply between a survivor benefit and your own retirement benefit. That means a widow can claim one type first and switch to the other later, whichever ends up larger. In practice, that often means taking the survivor benefit at her own survivor full retirement age, then switching to her own retirement benefit at 70, if her personal earnings record makes that the bigger check by then. If a surviving spouse is still working and claims before reaching full retirement age, one more rule applies: the earnings test. For 2026, under full retirement age all year, $1 is withheld for every $2 earned above $24,480. That limit isn't fixed though. It loosens the closer you get. In the year you reach full retirement age, it rises to $65,160, and only $1 is withheld for every $3 earned above it. None of it is lost forever. The Social Security Administration recalculates your benefit at full retirement age and credits back the months that were withheld. Remarriage matters here too. If a surviving spouse remarries at age 60 or later, 50 or later if disabled, survivor eligibility on the first spouse's record continues. Remarrying before 60 generally ends that eligibility, unless that later marriage also ends. This is not limited to current spouses either. A divorced spouse whose marriage lasted 10 years or longer can generally claim survivor benefits on a deceased former spouse's record under these same rules, and that claim does not reduce what anyone else in the family receives. Once benefits begin, they are not frozen in place. Social Security applies its annual cost of living adjustment to survivor benefits the same as it does to any other benefit. For 2026, that adjustment is 2.8%. None of this points to one correct claiming age for every household. That depends on health, other income, and whether a shorter life expectancy makes earlier filing more sensible for a specific couple. But the pattern behind the largest permanent survivor income is consistent. First, the higher earner delays filing as long as their situation allows, so the base the survivor eventually inherits is as large as it can be. Then the survivor claims whichever benefit is bigger at each stage of their own life, switching to the other one the moment it overtakes it. The filing age sets the range the survivor will live inside permanently, and the widow's limit sets the floor beneath it. If your household has a meaningful gap between two earners' benefit amounts, that gap is worth modeling out loud together well before anyone has to use it. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If this video gave you something to think about, do one small thing: subscribe to Retirement Decisions Desk. Every video here unpacks one retirement decision, and subscribing is how you'll never miss the next one. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.